Part of my presence, real quick, I want to do a follow-up to my last story about Bill Cosby being released from prison. At the time that he was released, Phylicia Rashad reacted and put out a tweet, and the tweet reads as follows. Finally, the terrible wrong has been righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected. This is what she put out on June 30th, 2021, based on the news that Bill Cosby was released. Now, in less than 24 hours, there has been backlash. She has been browbeaten. She has been forced to take back her words. And she came out with a more, I guess you could say, appropriate or more appeasing statement for the detractors. So let me read that statement. I fully support survivors of sexual assault coming forward. My post was in no way intended to be insensitive to their truth. Personally, I know from friends and family that such abuse has lifelong residual effects. My heartfelt wish is for healing. So that's the new statement that she put out, to pretty much take away from what she said earlier in regards to her support from her TV husband for how many years? Bill Cosby. Now, even though she put out this statement, which I feel is a fair statement to put out, it kind of touches on both sides of the issue here, right? You could be someone that supports Bill Cosby and the fact that he's been released based on how they had him convicted, and still feel sympathy and empathy for sexual assault victims. But it goes even further than this, because not only did she have to kowtow and put out the statement, she also faced backlash from some reputable sources as well too. Howard University, the place where I guess Phylicia Rashad is a part of the faculty, the teaching faculty, put out a statement, okay? And I guess they're trying to cover their asses as well too, so they don't get any backlash. But what they said was the following. Survivors of sexual assault will always be our priority. While Dean Rashad has acknowledged in her follow-up tweets that victims must be heard and believed, her initial tweet lacked sensitivity towards survivors of sexual assault. Personal positions of the university leadership do not reflect Howard University's policies. We will continue to advocate for survivors fully and support their right to be heard. Howard will stand with survivors and challenge systems that would deny them justice. We have full confidence that our faculty and school leadership will live up to this sacred commitment. Understandable coming from an institution that this is what they have to do to cover their asses, but is it a fair statement? Now here's why I'm going to question whether this is a fair statement, because there's another statement by another TV show mom by the name of Janet Hubert. You recognize that name because she used to play the Fresh Prince's mom, the original wife to Uncle Phil, right? The original. The dark-skinned one, not the light-skinned mom, right? But let me get into what she said, because she interjected herself into this particular situation, and she made a lot of, in my personal opinion, inflammatory comments. But let me read what she said. So when Janet Hubert's tweet, she wrote, Phylicia, what were you thinking? I don't know you, but to say this was terribly wrong. Everyone knew what he was doing back then. How could you not? Get your umbrella, sister. Here comes the shit shower. I am outraged that he has been released. Yes, he is an old-ass guilty man. I would have said he's old, he's out, and I'm happy for him. But he's still guilty. I know 5 women who have not come forward. Enough, y'all. We know better. Powerful men do wrong things, black or white. So there's a lot of questionable things about what Janet Hubert said, and a lot of people kind of call her out on it about if she knew and why didn't you come forward, and her response was that no one believes black women, and that all these years, did anyone believe us? No, and they always side with the people who have money. She also said to somebody else, well, why didn't you say anything? And her response again was, I did, but no one bothered to listen. You guys were too busy beating my ass over the Fresh Prince shit. This is what she said, okay? Now, having given you the context of everything that's happened and that's transpired, I have this message I think is very important to listen to. And I've touched on this before in a previous video that I did when it comes to sexual assault victims and the do's and don'ts and what you should do. But I want to just say something that I think people really need to understand. And I can't stress this enough, okay? If you are a victim of sexual assault, don't go to your friends, don't go to social media, don't go to a stranger, don't go to your employer, go to the police. File a report. Have it on record. Provide the evidence necessary. Inform the police that you are ready, willing, and able, and very capable and motivated to help with the investigation. Because the sad part about this is the fact that Janet Hubert said that she knew personally 5 women who didn't come forward. 5 women on top of the already 30 or 40 women that they laid out there for everyone to see over the past 3-4 years with this whole Metoo movement. Are you going to tell me that back in the 70s, back in the 80s, back in the 90s, that Bill Cosby was that man, that Teflon of a Don, to the point where he could escape all of that if they came forward in real time? Not even to add on the fact that it's a black man, and a lot of the people that are claiming that they were assaulted, a lot of them are white women. So already there's a racial factor in there. And if we are to believe that America is a racist country, then why wouldn't they believe white women? And on top of that, if you're adding black women to it as well too, then why wouldn't they believe black women, especially if the evidence is there? But when you don't come forward, and this is very important, when you don't come forward and you let these things slide, that accuser, you just given your accuser free roam, free range to go and accumulate a whole bunch of other unfortunate victims in their wake, because you decided that you want to be comfortable and not come forward, because you decided that your comfortability, your anonymity was more important than other sexual assault victims, potential victims. And as a result of you wanting to be comfortable, this man was able to have more victims under his belt. That's not how it should be. And I implore any person who's ever been sexually assaulted, go to the police. It might be uncomfortable. You don't want to get your name out there. You don't want to go through a long process of being asked questions of or having to prove that you're telling the truth. But guess what? If you don't come forward, there is no case. Your accuser roams free. That is not justice. And definitely not justice for the next unsuspecting victim, because your ass didn't want to say anything. So I'm going to leave it at that. Women, you have no right to complain about this being the wrong outcome. You have no right to say this never should have happened. If you were harboring information that could have led to a conviction, because the only reason why Bill Cosby was let go is because the prosecutors never had enough evidence to begin with, which is why they had to break the law to get the erroneous conviction in the first place. And this is why Bill Cosby was able to get let go, because he appealed on the fact that they violated his legal rights. If people came forward in real time, the evidence would be there, the statements would be there, You'll be able to cross-reference things. But when you wait 30 or 40 years to come forward, what evidence is there? The Me Too movement needs to understand that you are going to be held accountable for your failure to come forward when you should have. But for some reason, no one wants to address that failure. No one wants to be held accountable for the fact that you let someone who's a sexual offender, allegedly, you gave them free rein to continue to do this again and again and again, while you complain, while you bicker on social media, saying, well, everybody knew this. So in other words, it's the best kept secret everybody knows. That is not justice. That is you being complicit. And I will leave it at that. So I don't want to say too much more and overplay my hand, but I just need to address that. Let's not attack Phylicia Rashad. To me, she's royalty. Bill Cosby might be America's dad, or once was, but Phylicia Rashad is America's mother. So let her be. She's happy that her co-worker, a man that she's worked with for many, many years, and she has respect for, she's happy that he was let go based on the fact that he was incorrectly convicted, and leave it at that. That's all I'm going to say. Pardon My Presence YouTube channel. Until next time, peace.